Hello my friends. Today I'm going to share with you a set of plans that I had made for a dual set of composting bins that I've been using for about a year and a half now. At the end of this slideshow I have included a detailed set of drawings, a list of material, and a plan of procedure. At any point you may hit the pause button to study these drawings in further detail. All of the wood that I'm using is pressure treated, either decking material or scraps of lumber that I acquired either for free or for 50 cents a stick from the local lumber yard. These sticks I'm using for the legs and cross supports. You can see that there is a U channel in these sticks, and that is from the banding that went around. These were billets that were used with pallets, and the banding strap went in those U tubes to hold the lumber stack together. Any of the wood that was shipped to the hardware or lumber yard that was pressure treated came with pressure treated sticking. Here are the compost bins right before final painting. A few areas I'd like to point out is the crank handles. They're fabricated out of standard pipe or galvanized pipe fittings, elbows, and end caps. I chose to use a sliding hatch as my lid instead of a hinged cover. This makes it very easy to fill the bin using one hand to open it and the other hand holding your material to be added to the compost. Whichever type of lid you choose to use on your bin, you must make sure that it is substantially strong. You may have as much as 200 or so pounds of compost in each bin. Notice the end clip and the cross strap. Without these, the weight in the bin will push that hatch out of its channel. The two existing holes on the top of the barrel are covered with hardware cloth on the inside. This allows for ventilation, and it also keeps rodents and mice out of your compost bin. For additional ventilation and drainage, I drilled 1/4-inch holes around the perimeter on the top and the bottom of these barrels. I fabricated 6 paddles that measured 2 inches by 6 inches and attached them randomly inside the barrel to aid in the tumbling and mixing of the compost. I add all of my kitchen scraps into these bins, which include adding meat. Most people recommend not adding any meat because they say it will smell and it attracts rodents. I have never had a problem with rodents or with the smell. The quickest way to produce sweet-smelling fertile compost is to maintain a carbon to nitrogen ratio of 25 to 30 parts carbon to 1 part nitrogen. Too much carbon, you'll have slow decomposition. Too much nitrogen, you're going to have a stinky pile. To get a close approximation of the 25 to 30 carbon to 1 ratio of nitrogen, make a mix of 2 parts of green matter to 1 part of brown matter, and that's by mass and not volume. I shred newspapers and use that as brown matter and add this when needed. It contains a lot of air volume, so that's why I say you need to add mass rather than volume. Since I add table scraps daily, I'm never measuring my volume or ratios. The table scraps are always green matter, and my indicator of when to add Brown matter would be if I detect an unpleasant odor, and then I add the brown matter. Getting back to highlighting some of the structural details of this bin, you can see here the diagonal supports. This is extremely important because of the weight that these bins will be holding. From this view, you can just see the bottom of those diagonal supports. You can also see that I have adequate height space so that I can push my wheelbarrow underneath for unloading the bin. These handles are fabricated out of stock pipe lengths and fittings. Make sure when you assemble these that you use a pipe wrench and get them extremely tight because there will be a lot of stress on these. The handles are connected directly into these flare fittings, which are bolted onto the barrel. You can also see that I cut a length of PVC pipe and used as a spacer collar to keep the barrel from rubbing the sides of the frame. Here's another view of the flange with the PVC collar. I need to also mention that there is a 1/2 inch diameter, 36-inch length of rebar that runs through these pipes from one end to the other, from the handle to the back end. This supports the barrel and keeps it from sagging when it's loaded. Thanks for watching, my friends. Bye-bye.